Okay, everybody. Becky DeGrossa here with Counseling Wise. I just want to check in first of all and make sure everything is working. I want to check in with the folks on the chat, make sure that they can see the video. Can you please answer in the chat if you can both see the video and hear me? That would be great. Jane says no. MJ, no. Can't see the video. Okay. Please refresh your page. We'll get it here, get it dialed in here soon. All right, we got a couple of people saying they can see it. Somebody's saying they can see it. All right, almost there. Good. Somebody else can see it. Okay, so we must definitely be live now. Yeah, just refresh, hit play, you should be fine. Okay, so what I'm going to do is I'm going to go ahead and dive into this. We've got a lot to do today. Here we go. Okay, so first of all, heads up. If any of you have been on my webinar before, you know that Tanner is my office mate in the home office. I go to the home office so that I can have peace and quiet while doing these things. And the downside of that is that he may bark. Okay, so good. Other people are saying they can see, everyone's in. Good deal. Okay, so if you haven't been on any of these before, what we're going to do is just go through and do a teaching webinar today. So I'm going to walk you through that. Now, what I'm going to show you today, I'm really glad you're here, because what I'm going to talk about today is something that's going to make a fundamental difference. Okay, it's purely educational only today, but this will make a fundamental difference to your practice, and it will not only help you get clients from your website, but it will also help you with any of the marketing that you're doing, whether it's even just a listing on Psychology Today or goodtherapy.org or another directory. It could be a brochure you're writing. It could be a rack card that you are leaving at a doctor's office or something like that. Even handouts that you leave behind at a presentation. So this is fundamental marketing 101 that most therapists don't know, and it'll make a huge difference in your practice if you learn this and really wrap your head around it. There will be nothing sold today. Nothing is being sold. It's all educational. So just tune in and listen. However, I want you to interact, okay? There's a lot of data that shows that we remember pretty much nothing that we learn. If you interact and if you really pay attention, ask questions, think, you're going to retain a lot more. So turn off the other distractions, turn off email, get off Facebook, pay attention, or just go do what you're doing. If you're going to choose to be here, really pay attention to being here. What I want you to do is, if you're paying attention, go ahead and type in "I'm awake" in the chat box. Okay, I want to see if you guys are really out there paying attention. Type in "I'm awake" in the chat, and don't let yourself be distracted by other things. Okay, so the next thing that we're gonna go into is actually what the topic is today. So it is structuring your marketing message. Now, this may sound familiar to some of you who have been on my calls in the last 6 months, okay, or webinars in the last 6 months. Why are we covering it again? Well, we're going to actually go deeper into it, okay? And I'm going to give you an example. I'm actually going to walk you through an example. So the biggest takeaway from today, and pay attention to this, the biggest takeaway from today is this: You communicate intimately for a living already, okay? You already communicate intimately for a living. You already know how to do this, okay? The irony is that you are a communicator. That is the number one skill you have in your practice as a therapist, due to your education. You're tuned into emotions. You communicate intimately. Your career depends on this. Okay, you couldn't be a therapist if you didn't know how to do this stuff that I'm going to talk with you about today. So you only need to apply your number one skill to your marketing. Don't just keep it hidden away in your office with your clients. Actually apply this skill to your marketing. That's all you need to do. All right? So what are we talking about when we talk about a marketing message? Well, you may have heard it referred to as copy. Okay? Some people call it copy. Some people call it website copy or sales copy or marketing copy. The act of writing it is called copywriting. Okay, and somebody who does it is called a copywriter. So if you have heard these terms, copywriting, copywriters, all of these different things, then what you need to know is that they're talking about your marketing message. Okay, that's what is being referred to. Now, there should be a specific message on each one of your pages for each target and each target audience and each issue that you are working on. So that is one of the basics here. And here is what I'm talking about. Okay, so a marketing message is a page on a website. It's the message that sits on that page when somebody gets to it. So this is the website that I'm going to walk you through today in terms of a really good marketing message. This is Dr. Kelly Guthrie in Wichita Falls, Texas. And her site is thecouplesdoc.com. You don't have to write all this down because I'm going to give you a resource page at the end of this that's going to give you links to everything I'm talking about today. So don't worry about writing everything down. Now, if you were searching on couples counseling or couples therapy and you land on this page, you're going to see a marketing message. And that's what you want to have happen on your own site. You want your potential clients to land on a page that actually really speaks to them specifically about what they're looking for. That's the specific message, okay? Again, each issue and each population. Now, each one of these marketing messages should have a really strong headline, and we'll look at that a little bit later. And they should also have subheads to guide people through the message. Okay, they got to guide them through the message. So these are the kind of the logistics of it, and what I'm going to walk you through today is actually showing you how we go through it, how we go through each one. Okay, how we build these things. Okay, before I dive into that, I want to ask you a question. Have you ever learned something like EMDR or brain spotting or some other technique or modality? Okay, have you ever spent time learning techniques like this in your journey to becoming a better therapist? And if you have, please answer yes in the chat box. Please go ahead and just type yes in the chat box if you have. So the next question is, how many hours did that take you? Okay, was it just a 1 hour thing? Did you just spend an hour and then feel like you had totally nailed it and just moved on and used it with all of your clients in your practice? I'm thinking probably not. Okay, so what I want you to do is I want you to now enter the number of hours you took in the chat box. How long did it take to get trained on EMDR or brain spotting or any other technique or modality that you have learned in your practice? Okay, go ahead and type that in. So yeah, it takes time, right? It takes time. It takes hours, and it's the same with marketing. Okay, it's the same with marketing. You need to really invest time in learning this. you can't just expect that you're going to, spend an hour getting good at marketing. So go ahead and plan on needing to learn this in order to grow your practice. You need to get good at marketing. You really need to master it so that you can attract clients. And if you want to do more good work in the world, this is what it takes. You're going to have to dedicate some time to this. All right? There's a lot of free information that I give, for sure, on how to make it work for you. So practice it. Don't just listen to these webinars and then tune it out until the next webinar the next month. Actually apply this stuff. Okay, I have another question for you. Another question is this. Have you ever got to the point of mastering a technique? Now you might wonder why I'm asking all these questions, but they're really important. Okay, I'm making a point here. Have you got to the point of actually mastering the protocol for EMDR or brain spotting or any other technique or modality, and then because you had mastered it, you were then able to vary it a bit. You were able to get more creative, okay? If you have got to that point, then please type yes in the chat box. You guys are listening and typing, and this is awesome. I appreciate that. You're really paying attention. So, yes, you got to that point of really mastering it, and then you were able to do something with it. Well, it's the same with the marketing messages too, okay? I'm going to show you a system today, and what I want you to do is I want you to use it and use it and use it and dig into it and feel into it and really get to know it so that you can master it, okay? But in the beginning, just like when you were studying EMDR and learning that protocol, I'm sure your instructor told you you need to stick to the protocol in the beginning, right? We can't just go all willy-nilly on it. We need to stick to it in the beginning so that we can really get it and really apply it and make it work. We have to follow the system exactly in the beginning because we need to learn it well. We really need to get it before we can get creative, right? So with the marketing message system that I'm going to teach you today, there's a lot of folks who look at it and they say, oh, this is good and well, but I want to do this or whatever. They have certain ideas that they've learned from who knows where about how they should vary it. And what I'm going to suggest is that you actually do it exactly like the system asks in the beginning. Learn it really well, then you can get creative. Okay? And it took me a long time to be able to move away from it and get a little more creative and still get everything done that was needed to get done. Okay? So what is the benefit if you do this? Okay, what is the benefit? Well, here's a note I got a couple weeks ago from a therapist. And she's referring to she and her husband who was helping her get her website up. We have been following your information series and implemented many of the suggestions you have given. It has made a tremendous difference in quality/fit and quantity of my clients. Okay. And on last month's webinar, when I was talking about the Smart Therapy Websites program, I told you about a younger therapist, Amanda, who had applied this teaching, this specific teaching about the marketing message, just to her Psychology Today listing, okay? Not even to a website yet. She's still in the process of doing that. But just to her Psychology Today listing and got 3 new client appointments in the first week. So this stuff works if you work it, if you use it, all right? So I've mentioned the word system quite a bit, and I am a big believer in systems. Explanations help us understand something. They help us conceptualize why we're doing something, what the benefits are, all that good stuff. But systems help us do things. Okay, so my approach to teaching this is the same way I approach pretty much everything. I usually develop systems. I know I could talk to you until I'm blue in the face and you're going to go, interesting, yeah, makes sense. But unless you have a system, you are not going to do it. And so I really want you to do it so that you have a recipe to follow. So that's why I put these together. Okay, so let's dive into it. The 7-piece marketing message structure. Now, the first part of it is really a preparation step. It's not one of the 7 steps, okay? And it's getting really deeply focused on the client. I'm going to walk you through that as well here today. But then the actual structure of the message is first you have a problem. You're going to dig into the problem, okay? That's the first piece. The next piece is we're going to talk about a solution. Now I'm going to go into this in more detail when we get to the solution example, but the idea is we're not going to get into too many details. We're just going to let the potential client know that there is a solution. That's the point. Don't get too deep into the details on the solution part. Then we have an explanation piece, and this is all about normalizing the potential client's experience. We then have objections, okay? So don't run from objections. People have resistance to coming in. They have resistance to working on these issues, to facing them. We already know that, right? We know all about denial and resistance. Now, if you run from these because you think, oh gosh, if I mention any of this in my marketing message, they're gonna leave, you're thinking of it exactly opposite of what it is. If you actually bring these objections up, they're relieved that you know they have them, and if you name them and address them, you are much better off than just avoiding them. Proof. Proof is the next piece. When I say proof, I don't mean a guarantee. I don't mean that you're saying I'm going to prove to you, how I can solve this problem. It's not a guarantee. What we're going to do is we're just going to show them that you've had experience, one way or the other. It could be a case study. It could be testimonials. There's a lot of different ways to show proof, but proof is a big deal, okay? Uniqueness. You want to stress why you. Okay, hopefully what has happened by the time they get to this point in this marketing message is that they're going, wow, this problem, you're nailing it. You really know me. You know what I'm going through. You probably have a solution. Great. You know, a solution exists anyway. Okay, maybe with the explanation, maybe I'm not as, bizarre or such a freak as I thought, because other people have this issue as well, and you totally get it. So, okay, maybe I can go forward after all. Now you've addressed my objections. You're talking to me about the fact that I'm afraid to spend money on this, or I'm afraid to face it, or whatever my objections are. You're showing me why, I might want to consider you that other people have. But then on the uniqueness part, if you fall down in there, they are perhaps ready to make a move, but you haven't sold them on you. And the real drag is when you get someone this far enough in their own process toward therapy, their own journey on the road toward therapy, and then you don't make enough of a case for you being the therapist that they should choose, and they end up shopping and going somewhere else, okay? So that's why uniqueness is really important, and it's probably the hardest part for therapists to put out there. As a group, we tend to be a little reluctant to toot our own horns, okay? So uniqueness is a big thing to focus on. The last thing is call to action. And when I talk about call to action, what I'm saying is you want to tell them at the end of this message what to do. You want to give them a next step that is very clear and very easy what to do. So it's best actually to offer a free report at this stage, but I will show you some other options. Okay. So the prep piece. The prep piece is, again, as I said, focusing on the client. And the idea is we want to get into what are their driving emotions. Okay? Now, what I mean by that is what's really going on with them. What is going on with them? And if you can really get into the depth of that and nail it, then you are going to be able to write good copy, write a good marketing message. If you study copywriting, okay, I've spent hours studying copywriting, probably months actually in calendar time. You'll find many teachers who talk about researching the emotions that the target audience is feeling, okay? And so, in fact, Saturday I was at a conference and I was talking to a wildly successful copywriter over drinks, and he basically said that he has to go really out of his way to find people with these emotional situations, okay? So here's an example. If he's actually writing something on like executives and how to make their travel life easier or something like that. He'll go to an airport and he'll listen for canceled flights. And he'll go to the part of the airport where he can hang around those people who have just had their flight canceled, okay? So that he can watch them and study them and really get into their head and understand what's going on for them, okay? Another thing that he does is he goes to bars. So he'll go to bars on Friday night or something after people have had a tough week, or if there's been some big event where people have lost jobs, he'll go to a bar near that plant and hang out there and listen to people talking. And, you know, when people drink, they're a little looser, they express more clearly and with less inhibition. So he studies them. He'll drive through parts of the country to listen to radio stations that are like really, you know, far right or whatever, so that he can listen to the emotions in there and really study human emotion. Now, you guys don't have to do this, okay? You have these raw emotions walking in your door every day, okay? You don't realize how well positioned you are for being able to write well to your clients. So I have something called the Dig Deep exercise, and I'm going to walk you through it. I'm not gonna have you actually do it right now, but there is this exercise that exists. I'm going to give you the link to it. I'm going to show you the questions that are in it, and the whole idea is for you to get really into it, to be vulnerable. Okay, I had one very experienced therapist tell me, wow, you have to do a lot of personal work to do this. Like, you have to really being able to feel vulnerable. And that's true. You have to feel the feelings that these folks are feeling. And in order to be able to reach them, you've got to be able to feel them yourself. Okay? So that's what this is all about. So the Dig Deep exercise, again, this is the prep step. This is huge because this prep step is going to give you everything you need. Okay, it's going to give you everything that you need to write all 7 parts of the marketing message. So the first question, and these first 7 or 8 questions are actually pretty basic. Okay, pretty basic. Then we're going to get into the meaty, juicy, emotional parts. But who is your ideal client? Okay, that's the first question. Second question, and again, don't feel like you have to write these down because I'm going to give you a link to all of this at the end. Okay. Is your ideal client the person who will be contacting you to seek out your services? And if not, who is it? Okay, because if you work with kids, for instance, their parents are going to be seeking therapy, not the kids, and you need to be writing the marketing message to the parents, okay, not to the kid. So I hope that's obvious to most of you, but it bears mentioning. So who is it that's contacting you, and are they the client or are they someone else? Okay. Number 3, what is the relationship status of this person? You know, this may or may not matter, but it's just a good thing to keep in mind and to jot down. Number 4, who does this person live with? You know, what is their living environment? You know, are they, you know, just take the whole picture into account here. Okay, question number 5, what does this person do for a living? In some cases, this isn't going to matter at all. In others, it's going to matter a lot. So you want to consider this. What's their gender? What's their age range? And you want to get really specific about age, actually. You know, I might change that to exact age. So age range can be helpful sometimes to narrow it down. If you say I see people between 15 and 75, you're not going to be able to write a very good marketing message because that's way too big of a range. Huge differences between what a 15-year-old may be going through and what a 75-year-old may be going through. So getting really close to the age is going to be more important. And we're talking ideal client here, okay, ideal. So here we get into, with question number 8, we're going to get into the juice here, okay? So this is the part where you got to really go into it, okay? What keeps them awake at night, worrying, in pain, or just frustrated, lying in bed, eyes open, staring at the ceiling? You got to get yourself in that position of that person who is, you know, really disturbed about something, and get into their head. What is it? What's happening in their life? What are they thinking? What are they worrying about? Okay, what is this issue that they have? And really go into there and you know, write a good long page about that. Okay. Number 9, what is their single biggest problem? obviously related to what you offer, that causes them the most pain or frustration. Okay, so number 8 is going to give you a whole lot of stuff. Number 9 is going to enable you to narrow in on the biggest problem that they have. What is it, you know? And so I'm going to, let me just give you an example on this. Okay, so let's say that I'm in a relationship, I'm a woman in a relationship, and the relationship's going down. Okay, it's going downhill. So number 8, it may be that I lay awake at night worrying about my children, worrying about loss of status, financial status, social status. If this ends, oh my God, maybe I'm just worried about, maybe I'm never going to have another relationship again. Maybe I feel like a total failure in relationship. Maybe I'm afraid that my bossy father is going to say, I told you so, you should have never married that SOB, okay, whatever. Maybe it's really about thinking I did something terribly wrong and I'm a bad person and this is proof. Who knows what it is, okay? It could be all sorts of things that I could be going through with relationship issue. Maybe I just sincerely miss my partner and miss the closeness and I'm just heartbroken about it. Okay, there's all sorts of experiences people have when they are in a troubled relationship, tons of them. Now, what is the biggest single problem that I have? Okay, what is the biggest single problem? And it's not going to be the same for everybody, but if you can get down to this, this is going to give you a lot of insight that is going to really help you write your marketing message. So that's just an example of what this could look like for you. Now, question number 10, really take time with this one. What do they secretly, privately desire most? Okay, this is extremely vulnerable if you can really get into it. Okay, become your potential client and finish this sentence. If I could just blank, what would that be? If I could just what? If I could just reach my partner, if I could just restore this intimacy, if I could just quit fighting with them about raising the kids, what? You know, what is it? And get deep into that. Really get deep into that. That is going to be extremely informative for you. Describe a typical day for your potential client as it relates to their problem. Okay, this is widening up their life experience. You know, they go to work and they worry about losing their job because their marriage is on the rocks too, and then what are they going to do if they lose both? What is it? You know, is it dropping the kids off and thinking, oh my God, if we split, I'm only going to see you half the week? What is it? Okay, get the whole picture in there. This is really juicy stuff. Okay, so the dig deep exercise is basically, as I said, going to give you everything you need to write the 7 pieces that make up a strong marketing message. So now we're going to get into those pieces of the message. One question though, before we continue. I want to ask you, what do you think is most effective for capturing a potential client's attention? Is it a short page of text that your potential client can read without scrolling on your website? Or is it a long page of text, maybe 1,000 to 1,400 words of copy that they have to scroll to read? Is it short or long? So type in short page or long page. Type in what you think the answer is. What is the most effective way of capturing a potential client's attention? Really getting them to pay attention to you. Okay, type in short page or long page. Okay, here's the answer. If you typed in short page, you are absolutely wrong. Absolutely wrong. Okay? Now, this has been proven over and over and over. in copywriting circles, in places where people are selling millions and millions of dollars of products and services. Yes, you need to have a good headline. You need to have strong subheads for people to scan. And I know that I knew that you guys were going to, most of you were going to type in short. Okay, but you're absolutely wrong, because it's been tested over and over and over. If you hook them by a headline and you provide good subheads so that they can scan to see what catches their eye, long copy wins day in and day out. Now, here's the thing you need to realize. You could look at this. A lot of therapists say, who's going to read that much? I can't put all that on my site. There's no way. Well, the issue is this. Long copy was never meant to be read word by word. Okay? Just like the newspaper. You don't read word by word, right? You scan to see what's of interest to you and you go in there. But it's meant to have a lot in it so that it can trigger your audience. It can pull them in and anchor them to your message. All right? That's what's going to happen. It's going to anchor them to your message. So I just showed you, when I walked through that dig deep exercise about, the woman who was maybe thinking her relationship was going to be lost. She had all sorts of things she was worried about, right? You never know what that thing is for your potential client. Maybe they're interested in couples therapy, but it could be because they don't want their dad to say, I told you so. And that's the main thing that really bugs them, okay? So if you don't include that, then you may not get them. They may not resonate at all with your message. If you just talk about, don't you want to be intimate again? Aren't you missing your partner? That may not be it. It may be the number one thing that bugs them is that they're going to have to tell their dad that they made a bad choice, okay? And so if you have that in there, they're going to go, oh my gosh, there it is. Whoa, maybe I can get help with this, okay? So you never know what it is. That's why you need to include a lot of stuff in your copy. Okay, so now we're going to go into the problem. The problem. So here's an example of the problem. Are you and your partner struggling with your relationship and wondering what you can do to make things better? Okay, now this is Dr. Kelly Guthrie's site, the Couples Doc. Here is her first part of the message. It's focusing on the problem. Have you and your partner become more like roommates than soulmates? Do you feel disappointed and discouraged because your relationship has somehow gotten off track and isn't going like you expected? Do you find yourself wondering if you'll ever be happy the way you once were in your relationship? Perhaps you're afraid that if things don't turn around soon, you will never again be the loving couple you once were. Okay, so these are problems. This is holding up a mirror that hopefully touches on a lot of different things. It's not done though, okay? She continues. Have you found that small, everyday conversations lead to arguments and power struggles? That distance and disconnection between you has grown so wide that it's difficult or impossible for you to approach one another? For a lot of people, it's that gap. It's the gap. It's not that there's conflict, it's the gap, okay? You feel unappreciated, misunderstood, or ignored by your partner and feel angry, frustrated, or resentful toward them in return. Your efforts to connect have either not worked or made things between you even worse. Okay, these are a lot of different things. These are, micro-focused stuff, okay? Micro-focused problems. And there's a lot of people that resonate with these. Maybe they don't at all resonate to the arguments and power struggles, but they can't connect. All right, so this is what it's like to go into the problems, to dig deep into that exercise, identify these pains, and bring them forth on the page. Why so much about the problem? I've talked about that already to some extent. Our problems catch our attention, okay? They catch our attention. We want to solve them when we see them. We can do a great job of ignoring them, sweeping them under the carpet. But when we see it on a page speaking back to us, we feel moved to actually solve them. There are many different types of pain that lead to therapy, as I've discussed. So you really want to cover the gamut to let your message anchor in the mind of your potential client. Again, the client who's it's kind of a ridiculous example, the issue of, oh my God, I don't want my dad to say I told you so. But for some people, it's going to be something like that. It's going to be something that you wouldn't normally think of. So you really want to cover these different things. Obviously not everything, and you may choose to not work with people who have that many issues with their parental improvements still, but it's the point is that don't just think everyone has one doorway into this. There's a bunch of doorways into this, and you want to include many of them so that you can anchor in their mind and have them pay attention to you. The solution basically, hey, I can help. There's ways that this can be resolved. Okay, if you're stuck, I can help you. That's the message. Okay, now I may or may not argue that Kelly might be going into too much detail, in my opinion, as to what she's going to do, because some people are going to totally freak out if they read, what do you mean effectively communicate concerns and needs to one another, right? That may be something that scares the heck out of them to read on a page because they can't envision that no matter what. But if that's the kind of client you want to work with who is ready for that, then you want to put that in there. Okay, some of these things, some of the people, in fact, in my opinion, the EFT group, I have quite a few EFT therapists, they get way too much into this, way too much into their technique in the solution, and they can scare people away. So you want to be careful with this one. You're basically wanting to hold up hope. You're wanting to say there is a solution. You don't want to get too much into the detail of how you work with people because you could scare people in the beginning by being too detailed there. It's kind of a slippery slope there. Now, explanation. On the explanation, what you want to do is you want to normalize it again. Okay, so hey, I work with this every day. You and your partner are not alone. Okay, relationships are tough. That's the message. Many people have gone through what you're going through. You want to normalize it. You don't want them, according to them, they are in the worst situation in the world and it's totally hopeless and they must be a total failure on the planet, right? Big stigma, big shame associated with problems, as you know. So what you want to do is be gentle, let them know they're not alone, that you can help. You've seen this before. It's not the end of the world. That's what the explanation stage is about. And then we're going to go into objections. Now, with objections, again, a lot of people run from these, okay? They run from them. They don't want to mention them because they think it's going to backfire. They think it's going to hurt the chances of them getting the client if they mention these things. The opposite is true. If this couple is sitting here, or this person who's shopping, it's usually often one person shopping more than the couple, hey, we've been to couples therapy before and it didn't work. How do I know it'll be different this time? Okay, well, of course, a lot of people think that, right? A lot of people think that. So bring it up and go ahead and address it. I am only showing you one of the objections that Kelly has listed on her site. I think she has 3 or 4. And you do want to at least get the top 3 objections in there. That's what you want to do. Okay, so proof. Now, when I say proof, don't freak out here. I'm not saying that you're going to guarantee them anything. Proof is often in the form of testimonials from other professionals, not from your clients. You can't approach your clients ethically for testimonials, but this is a great one. I listen carefully. This is from an MD. I listen carefully to what my patients have to say about their experiences with colleagues to whom I've referred them. The feedback regarding Dr. Guthrie has been unanimously positive. I am impressed by your attention and willingness to address the core issues that negatively affect people's lives, and working with Dr. Guthrie has resulted in definite improvements for our patients. Psychologists/therapists with Dr. Guthrie's level of expertise are few and far between, especially in the Wichita Falls area. I will continue to refer my patients to her without hesitation or reservation. Okay? Benny Barnhart, MD. So this is a great example of what we call social proof, okay? Meaning other people know this person. They have good things to say about them. Must be halfway decent, okay? Now, if you don't want to do testimonials at all, some people don't. If you don't want to do testimonials at all, then you could also have case studies. and obviously not real clients, right? Amalgamations of case studies, amalgamations of clients, put those together, create case studies. The whole point is, if you talk about the work with examples, then, that's what this is, right? This is examples in a way. Hey, I've sent people to her. They have great things to say about her. They have improved their lives, right? If you show that in case studies, then you're showing a level of detail of working with the issue. In essence, quote unquote, proving that you have experience with it. That's what we're talking about. We're proving that you have experience with it. So that's what we're looking for in this step. Step 6, uniqueness. Okay, so this is a great way to do it. Hey, there are a lot of therapists in town. Why should we choose you? And she says, that's a great question. Here are the things that set me apart. Okay, and then she lists them there. Now, this is, again, the area where people struggle. So what you want to do is you want to think about, how am I unique? Is it years of experience? Is it my training? Is it my life history? Is it my demeanor? What is it? Okay, everyone has their style. Ask other people, how are you different? What stands out about you? Don't shy away from this. This is really important, really important. So get a lot of feedback from supportive people as to how you stand out, what's different about you, and get it on paper. Finally, the call to action. Call to action. So the main thing is they read all of this stuff. They're resonating with your message. You've nailed who they are. They're feeling very seen and heard and hopeful. And you want to tell them what to do. Okay? At this point, you want to tell them what to do. Now, my recommendation is really give them a free report. Okay? Why? Because, as I have mentioned several times before on these webinars, that 80% of people buy after the contact number 5 through 12. 80% of buyers buy after contact 5 through 12. They do not buy, only 2% buy in the first contact. Okay, only 2%. So chances are, if this is the first time on your website, they read your message, they are not going to contact you. Okay, there's a 98% chance they are not going to contact you after that initial exposure to you. So my suggestion is you offer a free report and you capture their name and email. Dr. Guthrie is working on her free reports. She doesn't have them up yet. So the call to action that she has is, I can help you and your partner repair the damage. I invite you to contact me. Okay. And if you look at the rest of her site, her phone number is prominently displayed. So, she could also have a contact form right here to make it even more effective. But she just had a stopgap, something in there, because basically she's working on a free report, which is really what I suggest you do too. Okay, so I've already discussed several websites that have free reports. TheRelationshipDoc.org has a free report. ShopaholicNoMore.com has a free report. BethSPatterson.com has a free report. DrSarahAllen.com has numerous free reports targeted to various specialties. So there's a lot of folks who are starting to do this. It really works in building your list, and it is something that I really recommend you do in this call to action area. Okay, as I promised, there are these are the resources that I have been talking to on this webinar. So the Dig Deep exercise you can find at my site, counselingwise.com/dig-deep. A previous marketing message teleseminar that I did, I think in May, I'm not sure when it was on that I talked about my experience as a therapist and how I wasn't using this system before, and I started using it, and I started my phone calls increased by 3 times by using this system. So you can listen to that teleseminar. That is counselingwise.com/3-times, and I have been going over this sample marketing message, which sits at thecouplesdoc.com. She actually has 3 different audiences she speaks to. She's speaking to the the person who's in relationship. She's calling it couples counseling for one, where only one person will come in. So that's one option. She has a couples counseling option, which is the one that we've covered. And she also has a divorce separation option for people going through that and needing help. So go ahead and check out all 3 of those links and go do this stuff. Okay, this stuff works if you work it. So that's all I got. I'm going to now tend to questions. So I want to look through the chat. If you have any questions that are like way up in the stream, then it would be great if you could ask them again so that I can answer them. So I'm going to be checking out the questions here. So we have some questions about short versus long. On your site, it would work in long. Your site, I don't think long copy works that well. I don't know. I don't really know what that means. Maybe you could say that again more clearly. I'm not sure what you're talking about. Maybe it's the way your site is formatted. I don't know. Let's see. Trying to see what other questions are here. I'm awake. I'm awake. Okay, I'm not really seeing a lot of questions here. What is the research you keep citing? The research I keep citing is tons of research. I can send you to some copywriting training institutes where they test these things day in and day out. You know, I mean, there's tons of examples of long copy that totally. Let me tell you how this works in the copywriting world. People will, you know, let's say New York Times, they're trying to sell subscriptions, right? So they have a piece and it's converting at whatever, 5%. So that is a very prestigious thing, and tons of very talented copywriters line up to try to beat the control. So something that has been in place for many years, it's called a control, meaning we've split tested, and this one performs best, so this is now our control for the experiment. So tons of great copywriters try to beat it, and they submit and send short copy. They submit and send longer copy. They submit and send different angles, different approaches. Long copy always wins. It always wins. So that is why these multi-billion-dollar companies that are constantly trying to increase their subscriptions or their client base have controls in place, and all of them have long controls because in their split tests, long controls always win. So this is kind of common knowledge in copywriting worlds, and there's tons. You could type in split test data for copy and see lots of experiments that talk about that. Where is the copy being placed? The copy is being placed on the website. So here's the other thing to remember. When people get to a website, they get to a page on a website. So if I were to type in, let's see, you know, like couples therapy, Wichita Falls, I'm going to land on Kelly's couples counseling page, most likely. Okay. If I were to type in divorce help, Wichita Falls, I'm going to land on her divorce page. That's what Google is indexing. If I were to type in, you know, let's see, help with gambling problem, Duluth, Minnesota, I'm going to probably land on a page of somebody's site that does that, unless their homepage is all about that. So pages are what rank in Google, not websites, pages. And those pages that people land on need to have good marketing messages on them so that they're immediately captivated and they stay and read. So that's where the messages are. They are on those pages. Let's see. How do I feel about Google AdWords? Well, that's a very good question. Google AdWords can be awesome, okay? It can be awesome because it can drive traffic. You don't pay for the traffic unless people click. However, if someone, let's say that you have an AdWord, let's say somebody types in gambling, Duluth, Minnesota. If they land on a general therapy site and the home page, they land on the home page because the AdWord ad is sending them to the home page, and it says, "Hi, my name is Betty the therapist, and I've been practicing for 25 years, and I'm really nice, and I have a beautiful office, and I treat these 14 things: couples counseling, anxiety, depression, stress, OCD, panic attacks, gambling, overeating, and, you know, infidelity." It's not going to be very captivating, right? So this is the point. The point is AdWords is a great way to get clients to your site, but only if it's set up to land on very well-written landing pages, i.e. marketing message pages, okay? So that is, I could go on and on about that, and I will go on and on about that in a future webinar where we're going to talk about AdWords and how to make it work better. Someone says, is there a link to this slideshow? There will be a link to this video that is available. You could watch it over and over. How do you work in the services you provide? Say if you have 3 subpages, groups you work with. How do you work in the services you provide? You have 3 pages. That's how you do it. So you, on your home page, can say, I do all these things, link here to see more, and they can go to those pages. Most likely, again, they're going to land on those pages directly if they're doing organic search and if you are ranking for those subspecialties, which hopefully you're working on doing. Should you have a call to action on every page? Yes. So free report is the best call to action. Download this free report, and this free report needs to be good, right? It should be something that is really enticing, like, you know, is your relationship really in trouble? 3 ways to know, something like that, okay? Should be really enticing. You always want to, some of this sounds a little hokey, but it works. This is what people opt in for. They don't want to not know if there's something wrong, and they want to know, how do you discern if there really is something wrong or if this is a bump in the road? That's why Cosmo magazine uses all these quizzes, right? Because they work. Humans want to know. So a free report is going to be your best bet. You could also have a call to action, which is call me or schedule an appointment, or, you know, call me for a free consult. Send me an email via this contact form, anything like that. Watch this video, okay? Download this free assessment. There's a lot of things that you could have for calls to action, but the report capturing the name and email is going to be your best bet, because then you're building a business. Okay, all these other things are, you've got to start marketing again next month because you've lost those people if they don't call. How can we learn better copywriting skills? The Dig Deep exercise has been really helpful for me on my site. I need to do it again to make it even better, but it feels like there's so much to learn. There is. So first, hats off to you for even doing the exercise, paying attention, applying the stuff, okay? I mean, you have no idea. You know, 90% of people don't take action. So hats off to you for taking action. How can you learn about copywriting? Well, there's actually a place called AWAI, American Writers and Artists Institute. They do a lot of training on copywriting. There's some fairly affordable courses at the beginner level out there at AWAI. There's tons of copywriting teachers, so I would just Google it and see what you can find. As far as I know, I don't know if there's anyone really besides me who digs deep into copywriting for therapists. I don't know. There may be, and I just don't know them. But I'm not saying there's not. I just don't know if there is or not. So I actually have a course that I teach, and I have lately been so busy that I haven't had time to schedule it in, but I'm hoping to schedule it in beginning of next year, well, sometime in the first quarter of next year. So that might be something that you could take, where I take all of this information. It's a 5-week course, and we really dig deep, and people post their stuff, and we give them feedback on their work. The other thing is, if you know, this is not even a planned plug, but if you want to have really good copy on your site, I have 3 writers who are trained in writing copy for therapists. So if you want to just pay someone to do it, you can contact me, and we could have our writers interview you and do it with you. Okay, someone said, I meant long copy works well on your website. Off-site copy is what I was talking about. Okay, so I guess your question is, does it work off-site? It works off-site and on-site. Works off-site and on-site. A lot of the controls in the industry are mailed. Okay, they are letters that show up, targeted to certain audiences, and some of them are, I swear, I've heard of 64-page long direct mail pieces that convert like heck. Okay, so. Taya, I'm new, first webinar I've attended. It's been wonderful. Thank you so much. Well, thank you for coming. I appreciate you coming. and appreciate the accolades. Let's see, I'm just trying to see if there's anything else on here that I have missed. Talked about the research, where the copy, okay. I think I've got most of the questions. If you have any other questions, type them in really quickly because we're getting towards the top of the hour here, and I'm gonna close down the webinar soon. I'm gonna give you a few more minutes to type in any questions. That course sounds wonderful. Can't wait to learn more about it. Yeah, I just wish I really meant to offer it more often, and we have just been so busy. So I hope to have it, it's probably going to be a once a year thing. So I will let everyone know when we decide that we're going to actually do that. Okay, link to the course. Go to, I'm assuming that question is about link to the course. Go to counselingwise.com, look at what we do. I think we've changed our website a lot. What we do, and look under training. There's courses in there, and so check that out. There's a marketing message course. All right, I'm going to call it a day, you guys. So, one more question. Can you say where each piece of the message goes? Would it all be on the home page? No. Actually, what you want is what I would suggest for a non-0510 who asked that question, go to my website, and under Getting Started, there's an area that says three videos you can't afford to ignore. Watch those, and you will understand what goes on the home page and what goes everywhere. Handout. No handouts for this. You can watch the video again. Just zip to the end and look at the resources, and you can find the resources. If you have opted in for this webinar, you will already get a link in your email showing you the replay page. Okay? So anyone who's on, you're already on the list, and later today we will be uploading this and sending it out so that you can watch the replay. Fast forward to any part in it and get down what you need to get down. Okay? And maybe we'll also put those links on that page if we're smart, if we can remember. Okay? Okay, great talking with you all, and thanks for coming, and I'll talk to you next month. Happy Thanksgiving, everyone. Bye-bye.